Welcome to another episode of Unfiltered Talks, powered by Accolades. We are here with my friends and league legends locally. And just wanted to chat with them about a few things that have been brewing up locally and also just pick up their brains the future looks like. So let's get it started with the Rash first. One of the biggest hot topic in the area has been these D&B academies. Are they really academies or are they money machines or what's the plot?
I wouldn't say money machine. It is a business for their has their own academy. Everyone is going to say their academy is a pathway to USA Cricket Major League minor. I don't think that after a certain age, these kids are going to pursue cricket if they're not given the right opportunities. If these kids aren't getting picked up their regional teams, under 19, under 17, whatever it is, I think they continue to pursue it after that.
So many academies are popping up and everyone is claiming to be that hub or whatever that might be. Atif, what do you think? Is it more like pay-to-play tournaments are going to take over or what's your thoughts?
I think the academies are good. There needs to be some sort of pipeline, even if it doesn't get to where we envision. This area is very underserved when it comes to regional level, national level. So these academies do create a pathway. It would be great to see them work together. It is a money-making machine, so different academies pop up and everyone has their own kids. But if these guys can work together, these different academies and different owners, and figure out a way where we can pick the best kids starting now up into the next 5 or 10 years, they could create a pipeline, regionals, and then maybe nationals or senior team. It's a good thing we didn't have growing up 10, 15, 20 years ago. These academies didn't exist. It's a positive. Hundreds of kids playing at different academies, thousands of even. I think it's good for cricket in this area. There's kids that come up and play soccer and basketball, other sports, and might give it up because the talent's not there, the opportunity's not there. But at least it gives them something to look forward to. Cricket is a growing sport in America, so these academies give them that opportunity to actually pursue it. Whereas somebody like your age or Rash's age, when they were growing up, these things didn't exist. So you would have to practice on your own. You go into a class or session, 50 kids playing the same sports. You can back each other, encourage each other. So that's a big positive for me.
$300 per session?
I played under 15, later under 19. But then at a certain point, right, when you hit that under 19 level, and after college, you can't just pursue cricket. Cricket is going more great. So you got to decide, am I going to spend whatever X amount of time go on these academies practicing, or am I going to pursue a career? Because cricket, to be honest, if you play Major League, yeah, it might pay your bills, but you get what I'm saying. When you got that top G, like if you're not part of that stuff, you're not going to make it.
Do you think the top G's around even this area gets paid like that?
I don't think they're getting paid to begin. They're not getting recognition. It's how in India, whatever cricket playing nation, those kids, they give up school because they play, even if they play club cricket, they're able to make a decent amount of living. It might not be the best, but they're making enough money. Like not playing IPL, Ranji Trophy, or whatever it is, they're still making money playing club stuff. We don't have that structure here. You can play under 15, under 17, under 19, but then you're above average, but not make it to that next level. So you continue to pursue cricket, or you just,
What's the translation? You were talking about under 19 to the men's team. That league, most people are never able to make.
I think it is a tough league. You need a lot of backing, especially in the U.S., because it's a growing sport. This area feels like there was a time where many players from this area used to play for USA. Now it's like we have so many more kids that want to play. You can't tell me that that we can't develop that talent in this area with all the facilities we have now versus 15, 20 years ago. A lot of sports are expensive. The equipment is expensive. Training is expensive. In America, you have hockey, which is expensive. The kids pursue it. We're one of the richer regions in the United States. Parents can afford it. Money is a factor, but if you want your child to pursue this niche sport, you have to pay what it costs.
Is it the parents' dream at that point, or is it just like the kid want to do it, or is it just like parents forcing it?
As a parent, you have to see, hey, is my kid really into it? Does my kid have talent? Or is it just for leisure? In America, millions of kids playing AU or travel. Parents just push them, and that's also very expensive. Like, have to travel to AU tournaments. I've seen people my age pushing their kids to play basketball or baseball or soccer, and they're taking them to different tournaments. If your kid has the talent, you should definitely be pushing. If your kid is not engaged as a parent,
how did you get into it, Drive?
2011 World Cup, and my dad is always watching cricket. Me in 2011 World Cup, pushing me into I don't know if those sport. Sport now is like cricket stupid.
Yeah, what Rash said is great in 2028. Olympics are having cricket, right? That could be a pipeline for something much bigger. Cricket could blow up in the United States.
Cricket structure has improved. I don't think it's improved by 2028. We'll have, this amount of cricket. And these youngsters are going to just pursue cricket. I don't think that structure is there for them. There is a structure for kids can pick for the regional hub team. DC has their own hub.
Mary, what is this hub? Can somebody explain? Is that academy based?
Or like when I started playing, I think it was just Atlantic region, but now and it used to be Maryland, Virginia, New Jersey, Philly, all combined together to make a region team. Now Maryland has their own region, Virginia has their own region, New Jersey has their own region. So it allows more players from their state to get picked. But then again, it comes down to you play the under 15 regional side, but then the next step is to make the under 19 USA or whatever it is. Other states might be pushing, or the leaders around here, are they doing enough to push them to the next step? I think there's a lot of time that DMV doesn't have any youth. That I think they got some great youth that have played in these regions that have performed very well, but they just haven't gotten that opportunity to either play minor league or under 19. Parents spend money on academy, tournaments, but now there's no level for them. You have to play league cricket. It's under 19. There's no under 19 WCL playing in WCL against the adults. It's basically teams recruiting these youngsters and then putting them in the team, and then they get an opportunity. You continue to play.
I was going to ask about DMV leadership. DMV leadership, to me, was we had representation at the national level, not just at the local level. What are you guys' thoughts?
When I talk about the heydays of DMV cricket, there was great cricket being played here, and that transited into these guys playing at a higher level. That was because they had the proper backing. You had manager of the USA team, you had them who pushed a lot of those guys into the team. Our leadership needs to do a better job. We need to stop focusing on local cricket. This was out to Pratik Patel, WMCB, Taj Bhatt, ANCL, Niall Neophil from WCL. Your leagues are running great. Teams are paying into the system. You have games set up. T20 season's about to start. But what's the bigger goal, right? Are we fighting for our own league or a region? We were promised a DC hub for nationals. We still don't have it. Our guys have to go to New Jersey and Philly to practice against the best of the best, and oftentimes they don't get picked. Why won't we have representation in our own area? And that comes down to leadership to me. Like, if you have the proper leaders who are pushing that agenda, like to the presidents of all these things that I just called out, you have an administration to run your league. A secretary for the matches, you have a vice president, they can handle your responsibilities. Somebody has to get involved on the national level. We need to stop worrying about local cricket. This is not about the weekend warriors anymore. We've been past that phase. We had the glory days, and now it's been dead. And now, like I said, we have all these young kids who are coming up who want to play. We have all these academies. What future do they have just to play in these leagues? You guys need to do more, right? Especially the leaders of our leagues need to do more. They're in that position to send an email, make a phone call, and say, hey, I'm the president of this league in the Washington, D.C. area. Why are my guys not getting picked? We have all the talent in the world. Why are our guys not being chosen in these regional teams, national teams, or even being considered? Guys that get picked on merit. It shouldn't be like what you said in third world countries, more relationship-based pickings of teams where it's like guys are getting picked because they're friendly with this guy or that guy. It should be merit-based. My biggest thing is if it's going to be that way, we know it's going to be that way. Sometimes you have to play within the system, right? And you have to say, okay, this is how it is. We can't fix it. It might take several years to fix it, but let's see what we can do, right? Back our guys, push them up to the national level, get them into the right regional teams, get them into the national team.
Anybody is even looking.
Where are the scouts? I've never seen anybody. They go into select few games where they get photographed and get recognition. I've never seen anybody go out of their way to really scout. There has been selectors prior, scouting teams prior, but now in the recent days, it seems very binary. As in, if people, you're in the team. If you don't, you are basically exiled. I don't get that concept.
I think it's for these youngsters to make the minor league team. First, you got to get picked in the minor league team. To perform there, you get picked up for the regional squads, the national team, or major league. You only have one minor league team in this area, so we don't have as many opportunities. Minor league is also a business, right? Teams.
Not really merit-based, right?
Again, it's like I said, it's a business thing, right?
Yep.
So you're obviously, if you're an owner, you're gonna want to pick the best players so your team is successful, right? So
Let me give you would want to pick the asset that makes you the most money. Because if you're looking at business, then it's not really, then let's take it that way, right? that you are then looking at an asset that will make you more money. If I pick this asset at a younger age, my maturity is, if I ride this before 20, 25, 30 years, that's a great maturity on the asset, right? That's business. And I think that's being run as business, I agree, but I don't think how basic we are thinking it's happening, because even at a sports management level, let's take it that way. That's what it is. That's the reality. Agents, this, that, they all playing on numbers. And so why wouldn't I? If a person or a dad or a family is paying me every week $1,000, it doesn't incentivize me.
Cricket is a business, especially in the United States. Minor league, especially because it's not easy. But I think it is a shame that we only have one team in this area. There are great, but we have some of the richest counties in the United States. We have so many kids that want to play, so much talent. We should have at least one or two more teams competing out of this area because there's just so much talent. Why are our guys going and playing in various other states? I think that's, I'm trying to say, yeah, to the guy, to the team that has the one minor league team, it doesn't incentivize them to pick the guys that support them, come to their academies, support their businesses. It makes the most sense for that person to do that. There's nothing wrong with it. That's business 101. That's what you're going to pick, right? But we need to partner with other minor league teams where our guys can get more involved and more guys are chosen, right? I tell my guys, we just had this conversation last week. I said, club cricket is great in this area, but if you really want to make it somewhere, if you want to play in minor leagues or showcase your talent and maybe make it to the national team, you got to play outside the region because that's where the eyes are. Regionally,
the problem is the infrastructure. Let's be honest, kids are not here, so people have to go outside. People in that hub get a preference. Outside are in the stranger. Those hubs have incentivization. Their leagues and academies are being paid by the players, their parents, their guardians. Again, it's just not making any, because even from a minor league and a major league perspective, it's a really top-down approach than a bottom grassroots approach, right? It's just really, hey, I go make my money on the top and you do what you need to do at the grassroots. I have not seen improvement in infrastructures and besides a couple of hubs. They're just, I don't know. I just don't know. It's not, to me, again, DMV leadership. If you're listening, please make it happen. One of the conversations I had with the leadership was, they have the money. They have collected the money towards getting the seats. I don't understand how these leagues, there's 3 of them, can pull their money together and buy land. Like $500,000, $1 million. What do you guys think?
yeah, I agree. It's in 2025. These have grown exponentially over the last 10 to 15 years, right? They're bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the conditions of local cricket are what they are. What are we really doing? What are we paying these leagues for? Just to have weekend games, just
Just organization and governance.
leave the house and play cricket, then go home. We're paying thousands of dollars to these leagues just to have governance, just to create structure. Why don't we have a turf field in this area? We are one of the richest areas in the United States. And like I said, our talent is immense. There's no reason that these 3 leagues can't get together. It's 2025. We put those differences aside. We can't be an eagle thing.
That's the biggest thing. Before we go to
Any deeper in the conversation, first we need to say,
before we talk about turf fields and all that stuff, I think it comes down to the leagues working together. I don't think that's happened. Maybe 1 and 2 leagues are, but I don't think they're all working together to come together.
no, let's be honest.
It's the structure from a base level. If you're not fixing it from the base level, you can't think about turf fields and all.
So let's be blunt and honest, right? WMCB and WCL seem like they're working together. I have heard multiple times, even on my podcast, that WMCB has reached out multiple times, same thing with WCL, to say, go ahead and publicly apologize, and we will let it forego. At least you have to accept what you did was wrong. Apparently, there's some disagreement. What do you think? Do you think there was some wrong in it?
There's always 2 sides to the story, right? So on your first podcast, we heard WMCB's and president's side. And obviously there's going to be different views. You're going to side with one over the other. That's great. But we need to think about the region first. We need to think about this area first. These leagues, sure, we can just make the regular leagues where guys just come in, play, go. But who's going to think about the kids that are coming up in these academies? Who's going to think about what might happen if cricket comes into the Olympics in 2028 and there's a boom? We need to be proactive, not reactive. Because if it starts where it's like, hey, what happens in America is, I've seen it, is when a new sport comes into the Olympics and it takes off, there's new interest in, right? But what we have right now is a lot of people from the subcontinent, from the Caribbean. Once we get people like from America who were born and raised here and they want to play and they realize the structure is not there in these leagues, they're going to be put off by it, right? So why can't we create the structure now so that when it does take off, hopefully it does after the Olympics, that structure is already know where they can come in and we don't have the divisions. Why are we fighting? What's happened has happened, right? This spike between on WNCB is 5 marriage runout, right? Why haven't we resolved this? We have good people on both sides. Why are egos still going at each other?
Because that's all I was going to say. What do you think? So WMCB has already came out and put their viewpoint publicly, right? Do you think silence is also ruining what AMCO was? Do you think they should also come out and
I think they should just, whatever the issue is, they gotta resolve it. It's not happening.
you put it out public?
Like you said, your podcast, there were attempts to resolve. Like he said, it's been 5 years, right? But there hasn't been any resolution. What is the next step? Like we can't wait for years. If you keep waiting, it's not. It's just gonna stay the same. All 3 leagues need to come together. If 2 leagues are together already, they gotta work together.
You have to accept you did something wrong. So the ego part.
Let's stay. If WCL and WMCB, they're together. From my perspective, they should come together. We're talking about field issues, permits and all that. They come together. You say, okay, we have this many fields. This league has this many fields. Let's combine together. On this day, you get all the fields, and this day we can co-op fields. So like Saturday, we get this. Sunday, we get this. You work together, make a structure. Saturday, these teams playing. Sunday, the top teams playing this league. So it becomes a Saturday, Sunday league, and you work together. Fields is not an issue. You get to whatever you said, 8 fields, WCB, 8 fields. So they'll show you got 16 fields right there. The top team, I'm not talking about Division 4, Division 2. You can have a different structure for them. Figure that out later. With the top team trying to move forward and play higher level, work a system out for them and work together. I think that is something that they could do, and I think that is something that other states are doing currently. I think New Jersey has.
Yeah, they've been having that.
I think
for
people
years.
LA, California, they got the same thing. So why can't we do that? We see other leagues and other states that's working successfully, and why can't we do that?
Yeah.
You don't need a sample size. You already seen it.
What's going on? And I think that's true, right? From a management perspective, it's also easier on the teams to figure out which state is easier to play.
Think about it. It's all so many things. You don't have any clashes. So players are going to get maximum amount of games. You don't got to worry about, oh, my game is clashing with this league. You play as many games as you want. And you don't have a field problem. You don't have umpire issues.
Yeah.
And the competition is just going to be immense. You had the same competition 2 days where the top teams are playing against each other.
I just start laughing at you. All people bring up umpiring issues.
Let me just get this out of the way. I think in this area, the DMV, I could think of 3 top quality umpires. Number is by far the best. George, I think he just recently started umpiring, but he's really good. And then Suresh, I forget his last name. I think these 3 are like top example with umpires. The rest of the ICC certified umpires or whatever you guys say, I think we had a unity got 2 years ago and keep a talking point about the umpiring mess it was. I think it was a video that you went viral. Decisions there. It's from that.
At least the umpiring was TikTok famous.
That's true.
The 3 people you say, I feel like they actually love what they do.
And they're great umpires, and I really hope they continue to umpire the big tournaments we conduct. They're always there, but then we actually lost the final in one of the DMV tournaments or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Because of tournament, because of the umpiring mistake, and it comes out when they come under pressure, they just freeze.
Dog the memory. So the scenario was that we were playing, I think, semifinal, and essentially Rasesh, you were bowling and Jessica was batting, and then there was a full toss that was essentially both ways.
I'm not crazy.
I'm gonna say 50-50, right? Because we don't know. Obviously, the call went against our team, and it was dubious. Multiple umpirings.
That cost us a game throughout the year. Yeah.
And then the second thing, the umpire was really from a hard tennis.
Let's talk about the DMV tournament where the umpire was celebrating with the team that won.
Yeah, see, those kind of things, it would blow my mind. Yeah. You can congratulate people, but
I'm not taking any credit away from you. Raj has done a great job conducting these DMV tournaments. He's created a platform where cricket is competitive. Teams are coming together long weekends and they're just playing competitive cricket. It's organized. You're having the top players playing those tournaments, and it's good cricket overall. But then the small things where you have umpires coming in that aren't experienced or something, and they just fall under pressure. And it just ruins your weekend because they don't know simple, basic cricket rules.
Because we're paying all this money, right? Even for the small tournaments, we pay money. That's a very important aspect of the game, right? So why don't we have better umpires? Why are we spending all this money, spending our times away from our wives and kids, our families, just to be...
I think you're not even married, bro.
I'm not, but I feel for the guy who come out and passionately, and because of one decision or another, and it just took one bad umpiring decision when he had all the momentum to knock him out of the game. These are ICC certified umpires. You just expect better from them. It can't just be like, oh yeah, we took a couple of classes and we got the check mark right and certified. If you're not passionate about the game, please stay at home. Don't ruin the game for everybody else.
I wouldn't say stay at home just because players are open to giving feedback. I've seen people give umpires feedback. I understand that they're also volunteering to do your job. So when they're getting feedback, they're also taking the time to come out and I understand that. I'm grateful that they're doing that because I wouldn't want to umpire. I'd rather play. But if we're giving them feedback and we're telling them just make the right decisions, I understand you can have one bad day. But when you're doing things like we saw in the DMV tournament where
For the game.
Yeah.
Recently, there was a fight in the tournament.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. And that basically stemmed from where? Umpire. It was just dubious call after bad calls. And as a cricketer, when you're already in the heat of the moment, 522 people, they get ruined. It seemed like 100, 300 people were just there fighting.
Umpire standard has to get better. I agree. The leagues are doing their part, but these leagues are for the players. Sometimes the people who are in charge forget about them, right? Yes, I know you guys are volunteering, everyone from the president to the secretary, but these leagues are meant for the players, right? These are the guys that pay the money. They come out, they're away from their families. They take out their weekends where they could be doing anything else because they're passionate about the game. If the league is not investing the right resources, it ruins your weekend, right? It ruins it for not only those 22 people, but then also their families because they're away from their families. You might have people that are coming out to watch the games, right? There's so many different factors that I know the leagues are doing their best. We're not knocking you guys, just saying there needs to be a standard. If all the leagues come together and create a standard, right now WCL has their own and WMCD has their own, and all three leagues are running perfectly fine. But if we come together and pool the resources, there's one standard across the region. We have the best facilities, we have the best umpires, right? Then, that is great for our talent, right? That's great for the youth that's coming out because they're like, okay, it's a proper structure. We don't have a proper structure right now in the DMV region. So I think
These, because earlier you said all the leagues are doing is providing structure and governance. And now you're saying that there isn't no real structure.
within their own league. But what about the region? What about, the thing is, WCL is doing their thing, and WMCB is doing their thing, ANCL is doing their thing. But what's the bigger picture? Is it just week cricket? Is it just the weekend warriors coming out and having a good time and being away from their families? Or do we have a bigger goal? Some around talented guys like yourselves, people that need that push, that structure to get to the next level. They crave it. They love cricket so much they crave it, but it's like they don't have any backing in this area.
I think if the management comes together and they work together, you'll see the governing body, that's what the word was used.
Yeah.
I think their mindsets would change. You'll see them becoming more competitive. You'll see them not just saying, oh, like, I don't want to play in this division because the cricket's too competitive. They'll actually want to play in that division because they'll see that there's something in it. Instead of just saying, I'm just a weekend cricket. There's a lot of guys playing, but again, there's a lot of weekend cricketers, the mindset that, I don't want to play competitive cricket. And that's because of the little structure we have. I don't think the structure is good at all.
Do you think there should be more incentivization of the game? Is good enough.
Let's take a step back before incentives. I think the structure in terms of the competition, WCB got elite division and the division, yep. WCL has a premier division 1 competitive divisions. But then the other divisions, we can call them weekend cricket.
Recreational.
They just show up on a weekend and they just hope that I think it should become a whole separate thing where, okay, these weekend cricketers, I'm not taking anything away from them. They're talented, they're good, they're trying to play as well. But if they should on the weekend and not be competitive, let's make a separate structure for them where they play that type of cricket. Because everything is just in one, it impacts the whole league and all the players. I was in the captain's meeting 2 days ago and there was complaints about
WCL's happened meeting.
you can't expect the guys trying to play competitive. They what's the next step? Playing minor in the major. First off, we're playing on national, man. It's not me up into piece. But if you're gonna expect them to go play on the smallest ground, or where like guys that are trying to go to the next step, spraying their ankles,
Yeah.
just something completely out of the blue. You expect them to play because we're one league and one structure for everyone. It won't work. There has to be those guys play the same center cricket at the same downs, but the structure has to be different where these guys, like I said, the Saturday, Sunday, all the downs are available to them. They also play competitive cricket on good grounds, and these guys, weekend cricketers, they also have that availability to them.
Do you think the youth should get involved in leadership? They want to get involved and there's all that, but it feels like no representation of youth. We keep talking about youth, but there is not a single youth in the leadership. So
Yeah, I think WMCD this year has made a little bit of push of getting youth involved. They opened up some positions. I think there were intern positions. Yeah, there's a great initiative.
I think we should be focused on playing. We're like, you expecting them to figure all of
No, you don't have to figure it
no,
out.
but you need to have a representation.
You also need to groom your future leaders. They need to understand if they just show up to the meetings, have an executive committee meeting, they show up, they see how things are being worked and like how the lead works and everything like that. Because right now, the way it is, if you're not in the executive committee, you don't know what goes on in those meetings. I used to be in the executive committee at WMCB. They do a lot of work. They're productive meetings. The guys in these leagues have been involved for so many years. Eventually, when the next group of guys come in, they're not ready for everything that it entails. If you get youth involved, they understand the structure. They grow in leadership. They learn how the game is managed. Even if they choose not to play one day, they can go into management and still be right.
What's your thoughts?
Okay, let's talk about DMV youth leadership. Even if there was youth and leadership, the older people around for us. It's as simple as
Why do you think that?
they're just not going to listen to them. That's just how it is. Me coming on here, I wouldn't consider myself a youth anymore, but me speaking, people are like, why is Rash saying this? Does he think he's a big star? Does he think he's this? Well, he's calling people out. He's talking this. They're going to say that, but the adults are just going to be like, what the hell?
You don't burden everyone. In our leagues, older people run the leagues, right? The youth might bring a perspective not considered. It might just be one or two ideas. I'm not saying get the youth involved, have some 15-year-old run the league, but it's like the youth might look at it from their perspective. The youth are seeing certain things that the older guys might not see. So it's good to have some involvement. I think WMCB, that first step they took, I think the other leagues should implement that as well, to have at least come sit in on the meetings, right? Grow with the league, come back and be involved, maybe league operations to some extent, volunteering at various events and whatnot, just so they can be involved, right? It's a great step. Every league should be doing it. I applaud WMCB, and I think should have a boost. Why are we ignoring the youth? They're our future. There's so many youth in this area now that are playing cricket, right? It's like eventually the old guys will lead, and these young guys will be the leaders, right? So why are we ignoring them? Why are we saying, hey, you're too young to be involved, when in 10 years, 15 years, they could be leading? Why don't we start them now, groom them into those positions? The leagues are no longer being run by guys playing politics. These kids are coming up and they realize we can't run it that. We got to run it the right way. There's a lot of benefit in getting the youth involved early. Every league should be doing that. There's no reason not to. Let's value their opinion. If we don't, they might reach 18, 19. They're like, yeah, we want to play.
I've seen it firsthand. I don't know if you guys know Arif. He does a great job. A lot of youth, but then I hear people criticize him. You got to give him some time. You can't
Is that effort is commendable. Bring in people on your own time. That's real volunteering.
That's real passion. That's a guy that loves the game and wants to be involved. He's not affiliated with WCL, WMCV, or ANCL. Just doing it on his own, hosting, teaching seminars to help grow the game. If you get youth involved in our local leagues, the game will get bigger. More kids will play. All the respect to him, he's doing it for the love of the game. We need more guys like that doing it for the love of the game. They just want to see that. They don't want to see anything else. There's no financial incentive. There's no personal incentive. It's just he's out there on his own Monday through Friday teaching kids cricket.
All right, keep going, bro. Great job. Going over to the topic of what is considered like minor league is considered local, right? Everyone is being imported, dude. This import business needs to stop for really local or homegrown U.S. cricketers. What are your thoughts on the imports?
There's two ways we can look at it, right? One, they're coming here and they're playing. There was a rule a few years ago that changed it. Put a limit to how many of the imports can play per 11. I think literally still has 4. If you're not playing against the best, you're not going to improve. If you're putting a little,
But what about the national teams? Do you think the national teams should, or minor league or major league in that case, because that's a pathway, right? Do you think that should even be allowed to play there?
that's what I'm saying. So locally, right? If we're putting a limit on them and that there can't be a certain amount of them, and then all of that, I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of teams pulled out, because their strength was, their base was these imports, helping them boost. That was basically their team, right?
Yep.
When you're taking that out of the equation, they're going to struggle, right? So eventually you're just going to pull the team out. But as local players, if you're able to compete against them, you're only going to get better. But eventually, when you get an opportunity to play for mine, you're already at that level because you've already played them, so you know what to expect. Now what's happening is since there's only one or two playing per team, that competition isn't there. So you can't expect that these guys are just going to be walking into that team because they're doing well against other locals. But the reality is they're not.
No, that's fine. But even the first scenario, they are not going into the minor league team because they're already filled what is considered local. In the minor league, you will see 11 people that never grew up here playing there. How are you going to grow any talent? It's a vicious circle. Are you going to really focus on homegrown talent like someone like Ireland did, Afghanistan did? Or are you going to keep bringing imports from, they could have brought in English players and improve the quality? No, that's not, I don't know. It could be different ways. We have seen it. It's not helping because they're making their money and they're out. It's not like they're sitting with the youngster and giving them tips. Unless they go to the academies.
Cricket is still fairly new here to the US, right? The landscape of cricket has changed over the last 7-8 years. It's become more of a business, right? So even for the minor league guys, they're spending a lot of money in their pocket. So they're going to want the best 11, 12, 15 guys. So that should motivate the local guys to actually go and play better. I know it's a company that's like, how do you compete against these guys that are essentially were professionals in their own countries, right? Competition makes you better, like Rash said.
Yep.
If you just play against the local guys, and minor league is supposed to be the next step up. You should be elite in your area to even make that step. If you're just good, right? If you're just scoring a couple more 100 runs than everyone else, you're just a good local guy. The minor league is the next step up. You can be great locally, but when you get to that semi-professional level, you have to be a step above everyone else in your area.
Well,
if you're not, you don't deserve to be there.
But I was seeing people posting kind of stats and going by that. Rash has told me some stories I can't get over. More man, it's unfiltered, but publicly the answer, what is happening?
Stats is a whole different thing, right? Everyone will see eventually when it comes to the big stage, everyone will see how you play.
I feel like Facebook stat padding is a real issue. Or I don't know if it's an issue, but it's a real thing. I have seen years upon years of stats just from random leagues. People have scored 500 runs on 60 balls. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe you must be playing a different type of cricket. And then when you go actually see them, or to your point, yes, but even to get to that point, that stats or the padding got them there. That they like really got them into the vicinity, you know what I'm saying?
Look, we live in the social media age, right? I'm not opposed to anybody doing it because you still got to go there. No matter what stat you put up, what you do, your practice videos, you put this, you put that, you still got to go there to perform. Right? So we're in an age where these things sometimes become necessary. If our region was strong enough, we wouldn't have to worry about this. But as you see, a lot of the guys that are talented in our region, they go play elsewhere. Sometimes these stats that you're putting on social media and all that, they're needed, right? Because the guy in Texas, California, or the guy that's sitting in New York, he may not be keeping up with what you're doing. But if it's in his face, hey, he follows you on Instagram, he clicks on your story, he says, oh man, this kid did well. So if there's a tournament 6 months from now and I need an opening batsman, or I need an attack bowler, or a left arm spinner, right? I'm going to remember that guy.
Double down on this.
Because I feel like if your region was strong and you had the right people running it and the right connections, you'll never have to leave this region. Everything is here. Every type of talent, right? But our guys have to go elsewhere to play. That's how tricky it is. People look at the stats, they laugh, maybe don't post those. But it helps your profile.
I've seen stories, heard stories of even not only padding, I've seen people changing their own stats because it's really an honor roll going on around town and honor roll to certain people.
I think that's extreme. If you're changing your stats,
You know, we've talked about them here.
I think that you'll get caught.
What caught?
I'm not sure.
I think there's some complaints or short
They
thing.
got caught.
That's just you're cheating yourself, you're cheating everybody else.
If you're doing something wrong, you're
Yeah.
gonna get caught, right?
Something was brought up last year of people changing their numbers and
Look, everyone's trying to get a leg up on. I don't mind posting on social media, and even if it's hard tennis. Do it because you're still playing, still performing. If you feel like you need to post to stay in people's minds, sure, absolutely do it. But to actually change your own stats, that's just cheating. It's cheating yourself and cheating on you, right? That's it's too much.
when I heard it last year, it made me crack up. That's extreme. People are getting to, because again, that's what I say. Social media fucked up people's head, man. Because now When you 2 weeks in a row, you ain't getting to post nothing on social media because your stats have been 0, and you go in and change it to 200.
It's unfortunate. There's gonna be people that there's always gonna be people that do it the right way. There's gonna be people that do it the wrong way. You can do it the wrong way, but you'll get caught. It'll always come to love. Whether that's somebody catching you or you actually getting picked based off these fake stats, and then you show up at a game and if you don't even out there, eventually you'll get caught. Like highly discouraging. And maybe one person, maybe 2. That's on your character, right? Everyone knows you in the cricket community. If you're doing that, you're just giving yourself a. I suggest you not do it anymore. Clearly, you've been caught, right? And it wasn't a good look, and it's still not a good look. And we're talking about it almost a year or 2 years later, right? So it's like that stays in the back of people's heads. They see your name on the face, and that's the first thing they associate you with, right? You don't want to be known by that. You have your own integrity. Let's not resort to that to get to the next level. Maybe you had a bad week. Maybe you had a bad 2 weeks. You're like, man, I got to do something. Like, that's definitely not the way it goes. Go to one of these academies, go hit the nets, and get better. Ball a little, get better. Don't do it this way. This is not the way.
If you were to mix a sport with cricket, what would it be? A hybrid, like cricket X something else.
I was thinking cricket with basketball or football, but then cricket would be just like days long, crazy long. You would just sub players in and out.
It was talking about 15 players. Very
Yeah,
picking
so-
players in and out. Like the basketball game.
The game would never end.
Too many situations, too many scenarios. What else would be the sport?
If it would be, I would like it for it to be like that, but no, it's just in 2 months on me today. It's just
Hey, I don't know. That's a tough question. What could we do with cricket that could change it?
now the way cricket is, it's so fast in sport. There might be like what I think only one just for he's just fighting for himself with the bowlers by himself.
Yeah, that's true.
The rest of all the cricket is just straight batsmen. If you like, but just even if you look at all these interviews where like players, like interviewers just asking like, "Who are your top players? Who's the best player in India?" Just batsmen. There's not a single bowler.
You know,
There is not a single bowler.
Yeah, it's just a lot of runs, bro. What sport?
I don't know, man. Maybe something like baseball. You know, they're very similar. Or instead of running from one end, you're running to a base, right? You have multiple base runners, and you can score runs, more runs based upon that. Like just different rules. Just how, for instance, this is crazy, but I don't know if you've seen this team on social media, the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, Savannah Bananas.
Just very creative and just,
Very cool.
The thing is, they were a minor league baseball team, and they do random gimmicks like dancing in the middle of the games.
The pitcher was almost 10 feet.
Everyone thought it was a gimmick, but because of social media, they caught on. Now it's selling out professional baseball stadiums. If cricket can become creative like that, where we can just inject different type of rules, I think obviously baseball is supposed to. These guys are dancing on the field, they're having a good time.
I've seen that on Instagram.
It brings more people to the sport. The guy on Instagram sees, oh, what's this guy doing? He's going, oh, what's this game? And perfect example is in baseball, the guy, we have a sports analyst, social media guy named John Bull, right? Who during the T20 World Cup really took a liking to cricket, right? Before, and like, he's at a social media polling of like millions of people. They're all American.
Yeah.
Who know nothing about cricket. And here's this guy, John Boy, American kid, grew up here, everything, right? And he just introduced cricket to America and explained all the rules. He's over there batting, showing them how it works. The opportunity to present cricket as a fun sport could either do something like the Savannah Bananas, right? It'd be great.
One of the funnier answers I got, it was cricket with slot fighting tournament. The captain is going for slot play, no toss. Whichever captain gets knocked out, that's it. And umpires, of course. Special. The guy is crazy.
This guy just wants to beat up the umpire, bro.
I'm just giving him options. It hates that.
I don't hate umpires. There's some umpires I really do like. I named them. And then there's some I just
3 out of the 70 we got, dude.
the three those big umpires are just great. If I could have them for all my games.
So you see this and that gobble I was talking about already. The season is just starting, and if you just talk they're talking nice to the umpires and stuff. Typical bowler stuff.
Bro, I'm not even getting into the like. I would just say
No, please get into it.
I've seen there's been scenarios where a bowler bowls. It's so bad. The umpire's asking the batsman, "Did you hit it?"
Like, give it a roll.
I'm like,
When
And crazy story.
when the bowler bowled the ball and he's walking back to his run-up and the umpire just goes well. And the team doesn't even appeal. The bowler's walking back to his run-up and the umpire just takes his
the
thumb.
bowler was
No team was surprised. It has to be weird.
still not that one viral.
I'm gonna clip it and post it.
That was a unique situation.
The team was like, all right, I'm
Yeah, what do you do?
There was the same tournament where bowler bowls a trump ball. It bounces over the keeper and is called a live.
but also recently I was playing one of these hard tennis games, and there's just like excuse for everything. I got a beamer on my face. The umpire noticed the ball was just dipping.
See these scenarios where umpires have earpods in their ears.
Out there, they chilling from the. I have known umpires going into the games and be like, "Hey man, I have to finish this game early." As soon as they get to the pad,
Oh, yeah.
There's been scenarios where umpire does the DRS in the head. You know, I don't know, it's a climb up that story. He just saw the instant replay and
listen the game. I could do instant replay.
This is a very recent story. I remember this story, dude.
Nah, we have some legends, characters around town.
There's still some good umpires.
That's a big job. Okay,
Touch it up, bro.
he's so like, could be the first one cussing at the province.
Good asteroid did you probably did this season.
And as I said, there's characters around our league. One to highlight is our very own TQ, Legends of TQ. What legendary quotes you want to throw out?
He has pure passion for the game. Shows up to all the
They
games.
want to have a good time. Even in tense situations, you take it easy. But he also needs to understand situations because sometimes when the game is super tense and it's like, this man's busted, this person.
I love man, one of the legends to me because I've seen him bring a whole to a game. I have seen him bring a speaker. I have seen him bring dance moves into a WCL award. We award the award had to be like, please, but we need to move on. Oh man,
He's a character.
do you guys know any more like that? Oh man,
He's unique. I don't think anyone can get to his level. He's great entertainment when he's
He
around.
goes to random games.
I don't think he cares.
He doesn't know anyone on the team, but whoever's hitting the sixes is on their team.
not on life, man.
He plays all the bowlers number the ball.
I have another legend for you. The legend in the Unity group, Mr. Smudge, favorite fan. Who am I talking to?
Let me tell you, this guy, he's not in the group anymore, I don't think. But what he used to do in that group,
Devastation. Lighting fire.
He kept the group alive.
yeah, because it's one guy who's passionate about Australia. And the thing is, sometimes that passion, the lines get blurred.
He's not passionate about Australia. He's passionate about Steven Smith and one's lavishing. I wouldn't say he hates Coley, but he definitely puts Coley.
But any opportunity he gets to talk about Coley's
It's
side.
expected. You're not gonna like Coley. You're gonna make enemies.
Yeah. But one man against a 4 or 500 man army is insane. And he did it on the regular. And I think he left the group once, came back, did it again. It's legendary for a guy like that. Props to you, Mashir. We need you back in that group.
I just love the fact, she talks about Steve Smith, calls him Smudge,
Yeah.
I was marveled by his nickname.
He goes into the details. Right? He did this for dinner last night. I took him into bed and takes.
I'm fed what? Like when it's cold or when it's too freezing?
You know about the cold is above you. He said, I would love to play in the snow. The snow wouldn't bother me. It's a mental game. A lot of people thought he was kooky. The kid seems like he's alright. He's got his head on straight, especially after what he does in that Unity group. 400 or 500 guys, him by himself.
I think I need a pod with him. I think that would be fun.
Either that or you would jump out the window.
I've never seen a bigger fan than Steve Smith.
Well, why? Is it love for Steve Smith or hate for other players?
I think the love is just overwhelming. Everything gets compared to. If Steve Smith is doing this, and this player is now doing his wine show, it's just kind
I don't think he shuts them up.
Real quick. What do y'all think is like a gold run chaser around our league?
I'm sitting on them right now.
Yeah, I was in
I think I've seen one guy in WMCD who, for the team that we have, anytime we're in a tight situation, and one guy is always showing up, right? That's Chun. And he's always scored big runs in tight situations for us. I think Jared is one of those guys where if he's there, anything can happen.
Nice. Rash, your goal chaser.
I guess but I really haven't seen CP do it. I've seen a lot of cricket intensity. International games. It's only versus Jamaica. Those are the 300
Back in
plus
the game.
games. There was some crazy, insane.
I remember growing up playing against players like Parr, right? Juice, Tony Powell, O'Neal Richards, one of the top bowlers from Kensington, Barkley, and dude, they never gave an inch. So you had to do what you had to do. But I feel like the same competition is not here around town anymore because of the local leagues and all of that. But I feel like overall, what we were talking about, like a specific sector player need to make the all league, or maybe the 4th league need to come and just be like, hey, elite, the elite only, like elite stuff only, please, like the Legend League or something. I don't know. Exactly. It's need to pull in.
We are trying to do DC versus Maryland versus Virginia, the best of the best, and played all season.
What's up with the WMCB? I know Rash had a bone to pick with WMCB. What's up with the pay to play?
Credit to them, they're organizing these things. I saw your video, 150 to participate. I'm not getting 150 to participate. I don't think you would. I don't think the top players would. So then, does that become just participating? I don't think it's competitive. You're given the platform to guide the part of the top players going to play in it. How does it work? You know, I think they're doing a good job of giving a platform, but I don't think you're going to get the best players. I don't think a lot of guys are going to pay 100 or 150 to participate.
But to me, it was good. But I also wanted to go into these tournaments. The ball quality, man. What's up with that? I feel like there's a lot of different balls that are used around different tournaments and everything. Is there like a consensus as to what is not going to break our hands? Is that a consideration?
I really don't know what to say about these balls. There's some good balls, good vendors, but I don't know the cost. There are some good quality balls out there. Yeah, some of these use.
Which league has the best ball?
I think WFCB and WSWing was the same vendor.
Oh yeah, we still decide there.
I think
Those esports?
Yeah, I think it's esports. I think the esports, there's a difference between the white balls and the quality gem too. I think the red ball is a lot better.
The red ball was good.
Why are we still playing with the
More, yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Bro.
Some people don't play.
It does. It's fun, but
Then it comes down to steadily, like you're making a separate division. WCL did a good job of doing that. For,
You could pick where.
yeah, but then it came down because there's lower divisions.
Yeah.
But the lower division guys, the weekend cricketers, they wanted to play red ball. I mean, it's fair to them because that's what they've been playing. They want to play that, but then the guys that want to move forward, that want to play minor league, they want to play major league.
the competition level has also gone down. If you guys notice, both the leagues really out just now the top 2 to 3 teams.
That again, it comes down to the cap of
How many? But even if you bring pros, right? Then it's okay. Think about it like this: the division is for 10 or 12 teams. Out of that, 5 teams are competitive.
There's so many things it could do. The league can say, okay, we're going to bring in 10 professionals, we'll split them. That's what I'm saying. Like you just said, there's 5 competitive teams. Those 5 competitive teams you gotta come.
One person has a purse, and they use their purse to bring, let's say, 10 players. Why would they want to give you?
I'm sure there's something the league could do. Maybe increase the registration fee or something.
More money?
There has to be something. Some teams are very competitive. They could have the option to say, no, we don't want them. And we're good because there's some teams out there that are just telling that the Cosmos, halfway to Fairfax now, we don't need professional players. We're good enough to compete against. I'm not bragging, but I think these teams are good enough to. They have competed in the past.
Those players.
DC Tigers just spoke first.
If you're taking WMCB, there's only 3 teams: BRSS, United States, and DC Tigers. Washington is there, and Toronto is there.
That's what I'm saying. If these are your top 5 teams, and make sure these teams play amongst themselves.
But then it's repetitive. It's more, what are you doing?
I would rather play boring cricket.
Here's the thing: if it's 5 and 5, I would love to do the interleague, right? You take our 5, take their 5. That's the best.
If you're not coming together as the same players are on both leagues.
Because technically, if you're a 5 and 5, you did 9 games. 5 for this side, 4 of your own. That's 9 games. You play a 10-game red ball,
But it's the same players.
and every team has a capital league profession is. You can only bring in 2, and you're gonna have to find an account some to compete, right? Now, if you're playing either one of these leagues, you know that there's 10 or 12 teams. You only need some of these guys for a few games to win the big games. We'll worry about it during the playoff, right? So it's teams, even when they bring in players, right, young guys, right, they don't get a chance in the playoffs. But if every game is tough, you're going to battle somebody from the other side or your own side. This is the team you're
All
going to
teams are competitive.
That's what you competitive.
That's what I would love to see, right? Where every single game you're going in, you're like, hey, we need to have a different strategy or a different.
Exactly.
Right now, I feel like, just top teams are heavy, the bottom teams are not.
WCO with the longest time, anytime you're playing with Dominic, you got to come. You got to come. In WMCD, when DC Tigers played United, then you got to come loaded. Worry about some of the Cosmos and the Afghans too, but it's not to that level, right? But if you know that every single week, I got to bring it up, right? I got to bring you.
WMCB did a very cool thing this time. They are saying, we're going to make you play in 6 weeks, 8 games.
Yeah.
So you have to play 2 games in a weekend, and we're going to make the qualification 60%. So you're no more just haphazard, just players playing. You got to commit. If you're playing, you really play. Out of 10 games, That's 6 games you gotta play.
That comes into the equation that now the other leagues and stuff, because you got to play a certain amount of games. You qualify and play playoffs. Now, other leagues, you're going to be like, oh shit, now our players can't play here because we got to qualify there.
Biggest thing, man. That's what leagues do.
Yeah,
Right?
so-
Because cricket is for the players. Just come together. Why can't they play in the other? Let them play in the NCO, WMCB. These leagues shouldn't be driven by somebody's ego, right? Shouldn't be driven by this president versus that guy. No, these leagues are for the players. Teams pay to be in these leagues. Washington, a team in WCL. They have a team in WMCB. If you look at their roster, they have 85 on each roster. The crazy part that they came out in WMCB because Pratik Patel plays for Washington, right? So it's like,
He chose to win the championship.
they chose to win. Crazy. I don't know why. I'm sorry, Washington. You guys are great, but I don't know. Obviously, you're going to want to win both leagues if you have two teams. But if not, you're going to at least want to win one. So it's if you're taking all your guys and put them in one league, versus WMC now with 60%, and if no one of good value on the other side, you're shortchanging yourself on the WCL side, right? Now you're going to pick your boys and say, okay, are we going to play WCL or we're going to play WMCB, right? And like Pratik was in his interview, WMCB has always been the stepchild. Everyone picks WCL, right? If I tell you, any of you guys, hey, a playoff game in WCL, playoff game in WMCB, 90% of the guys went to WCL. They're the great at it, the ones that run the show. We gotta admit that. You gotta be honest with yourself. Yes, WMCB has done a great job over the last several years of becoming a better league, better grounds and everything, but WCL is still WCL. As a trend to see, right?
Man, what I would like to see is whenever the next DMV tournament, if there will be, like, I would like to see an auction sort of thing where you're getting a team and want to put your own team like the top players, whoever the DMV recognizes to be the top like 5 or 10 players, you auction for them, and then make a tournament like that where if it's the DM Cup, you auction for those top 10 players, and then it becomes more balanced.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. And it becomes who has the bigger wall, who's willing to pay more. So
Let's make the structure.
okay, yeah. Here's the structure. You're gonna pay
This is-
$1,000. You gotta manage it in that $1,000.
I mean, personally, that's what I think. It's underhand. Last year, some team paid a player to not play the semifinal.
We're not gonna talk about
What's that to the
Oh,
it is where it is. On the road, this had nothing to do with us. It's unfortunate that it happened. That's your reputation. Sure, happy as a man playing cricket. That's on you. If you do something like that,
talking about how you can make these tournaments more entertaining, the competition, and then make a rule where it's like you gotta have 1 or 2 under 21 players, under 19 players per 11, so competition is more balanced out all the way through. If you're playing 3 league games or 3 games in a tournament, all 3 games are gonna be crazy. Everyone's gonna be.
heated games. That's what we want. Heated game competition too. I agree. And
Or if they want to, instead of doing a draft for 10 players, people register. WMCB is doing it. Players register. It doesn't have to be a crazy fee. Like you could do $10, $15. Players registering one that is probably pay $10.
yeah.
Register yourself, and the teams go through a draft system like the IQ and you draft. You can have a pre-draft too. These are the 3 guys on one team, and then you pick the rest.
So you should have a Freedom Cup, Sugar Range, something like this, where you would have 4 different teams, and it would literally like the captains pick, and then Visa knows because DC Tigers captain Deepak used to be a captain of one of these teams, and then you would just hope it, right? It would just be like 1 to 4, and then sneak back 4 to 1, and it was great because teams were balanced, and it was like also for
and our players were getting picked in other teams.
by other teams, so you would have to play with other guys.
I think that also because you really want to spend a weekend playing with guys.
So there's a lot to do incentivize. Right? These leagues are making too much money. You guys are all nonprofits and the money is sitting in the account. Spend the money. If 10 teams are paying X amount for this season, why is that money being rolled over? All these leagues are sitting with these fat bank accounts.
You should tell us more.
But they're saying they ain't got no bad bank.
No, let's be honest, they do. And it's not like they're sitting
It's
on
upward
millions.
of 100,000s.
WCL situation, I know WM's not much, but if they're always worried about the rainy day. I'm like, rainy day trades, have a fun for future endeavors, grow that fun. But if I'm paying you this year, what are you doing for me this year? Why isn't this a big grand event? Why are we not having food vendors come and other stuff? Why is this not being advertised? Why is only the 2 teams that are playing the final show up to a league final? Do something for your team. Have food trucks or a vendor serving food or stuff to the kids like a mold mouse. Make it exciting. Grow the community. Just don't worry about playing cricket. I love going to WCL finals at Metro. WCL doesn't go crazy, but there's always people there. You have the guys always at Metro, that live in the area, they'll show up for the games. Other people will show up just to watch. It creates a great atmosphere.
Right? Same thing with perfect grounding. They fixed the soccer place round. It's a great environment, great place. You could bring in a lot of people. There's a lot of youth that live on it.
It doesn't even cost them. Just spend a few $1,000s, right?
And hopefully, eat the conversation that people are talking about. Then might as well.
Like, how grow the community that way, right? Like, have a moon bounce. A moon bounce is supposed to like $500, right? Have people bring their kids and enjoy it, right?
Cricket
Festivals.
And we can make money off of that. You go to these business owners.
There's a lot of small business owners within the league.
And if providing food, right? Like,
You can sell faculty.
there's so many ideas that can help these leagues grow the community, right? I love going to WCLBs, right? And I'll be honest, man, I'm a WMCB guy. I hate going to WMCB finals because it's just the two teams. They'll set up a tent, some donuts. It's not a big thing. I said, let's have a barbecue, right? So we did a barbecue. I was like, let's tell people we're doing a barbecue because we're already spending the money, right? So why not just spend a little bit more and have a good environment that other people will come to create that environment, right? And that's what these leagues are doing. They've been around for so long. WMCB 25 years, WCL, God knows how many years, right? It's like, man, bring people to the ground. Let them enjoy the game. Even if they're not involved, you're happy to be there, right? You can bring kids around. It helps the kids be involved in the game.
And grow the game again.
And grow
There's
the
so
game.
many different good angles.
They're just sitting on these fat bank accounts. Spend some money.
Spend dough. Who do you guys think? All right, let's go to WCL. Who do you guys think is going to be champion, Premier Division?
There's a lot of movement. Potomac being out leaves the door wide open. Talent-wise, I think Afghan has a good chance of winning PD. 40 overs in TG. I think they're super talented. I think there's a lot more population in this area. Some there is growing exponentially. I think they have the right pieces. I think if they can gel together, play well together, I think they have a very legitimate shot of winning 220. They won 40 last year. They won 40, right?
Yeah.
So they have a shot. I think they can win. I think it'll be a clean sweep.
I find out like my boys play if they gotta go for a different tournament or something. It's a different story. Find out all my boys will be in the finals.
Favorite players.
If I'm AK, if I have Red Lake, if I have Gopin, then I have Sheldon. If I have these four guys in Montana Crossfit, we will be in the finals.
We just these four. Okay.
Wow,
I respect that.
Well,
A lot of confidence from the captain.
that's a lot of saying. And 40 overs too, right?
If I have these four guys in the 40 overs in the playoffs, we'll be in the finals.
Look, BRSS and WMCB, it's a crash and no one knows what to expect. They came up last year from Division 1, now Division 2, the Elite Division. If they could beat the newcomer, they're very talented. We know that we actually, DC Tigers plays them in week 2 at Mark Twain, so we'll get a peek. United is always tough. I'm always going to go with mine. DC Tigers, all the way. We've been through it time and time again. We played some of the best teams. We've done it all in the last 15 years since Tigers has been around. I'll always back my guys from lane. We're supremely talented, but it's open. They're not really, it could be anybody. I wouldn't be mad at BRS and United because they're talented teams as well.
If Toronto is knocking on doors, getting rising star guys,
I'll make a bold guarantee.
Those are semifinals, right? BRS, DC Tigers, United, and Toronto.
Yes.
no Washington in there for you?
It's Japan.
He's beefing up the team.
Washington, best of luck. You can beef up the team, but I think Washington, like he's always said, he even said in his podcast.
I think the issue for Washington was a team in WCL.
All right, guys. Thank you for another episode. Thank you for tuning in and join us for more weekly picks. See ya.